So are you wanting to run your goats in the woods or out on pasture? Well, in this video, I'm going to be telling you how I've done it and what materials we use to be able to run our goats anywhere on the farm we want. And I'll also leave links all down in the description below. That way you can just go down there, click them, and it'll be a lot easier to find everything. So let's get started. I'll show you how I run my goats basically wherever I want to, out in the pasture or in the woods. So these are my two goats, Edwards, which he's a wether, and then we got Laura, which she's a doe, a Nubian doe. Edwards here is a Alpine Nubian mix. But the way I've done this over the past year and a half is not permanent fencing, not free ranging, but running them in 5-strand hot wire. And yes, I have never had a problem with these goats here trying to get out because I trained them young in a pen where all I had was a little shelter, mainly because they were young and I didn't want, and we kind of got them when it was still kind of cold. So I built them just a little shelter, and we put up some just hog panels, and then we put hot wire on the inside. That way we could train them to hot wire. Because my goal was with these two goats, well, actually I've had 8 goats over the past year and a half. And the reason you only see 2 is one of them got attacked by a dog. And then one of them was just super weak and ended up dying. But all of the rest of them, they didn't stay in the hot wire. So I went ahead and got rid of them because I don't want to have to change my system just for some goats that keep trying to get out. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you my whole setup. It's fairly inexpensive, definitely a lot more cheaper than if you're going to be having a permanent pen. And then you also have the risk of parasites, and you're going to have to deworm them and feed them grain because they can't roam around and get what they need. So first things first, you're gonna need an Energizer. This is the Energizer we use. We really like it. It works very well for us. You can see it's hitting at 12.7. The highest it hits is 13,000 volts, which is hitting at 12.7 thousand right now, which is pretty good because we got it run all the way down to the goats, which are about right there. And then we got it going across to our Cooney pigs and our big pigs. The other thing that you'll probably want are some kind of metal post just to stick in the ground to run your hot wire. You can also see we have these blue posts. They're the O'Brien fence posts. They've worked really good for us. They're super tough. But to pull your wire tight, you'll probably want something more rigid like this with one of these fence clips or whatever you call them attached to it. And that will just help you be able to run your fence wherever you want. Next up, what you'll need for your metal wire is a reel. We really like these reels. They've worked well for us. They're fairly inexpensive, which is good because I didn't want to spend a ton of money on our goat setup. So this is one thing that's really saved us some money. You can get better reels. They make them in a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes, and a lot better reels than this. But depending on what you're doing, this reel is going to do the job for you. We got our goats from this bottom corner right now all the way up to the road up there. It works well enough. You can get, like I said, you can get better ones. This is the one we just like to use, and it's fairly inexpensive. You're also gonna want hot wire. So you can see we run our goats in 5-strand hot wire. But this setup here with the 5 strands works really well because you got something low enough where they're not gonna duck under. And then you got a middle one, that way they don't try to jump through the middle. And then you got one high enough, that way they don't try to jump over the top. And the clips that I showed you over there, those are a little bit different than the T-post clips. But like I said, you can just find these Track Supply or probably any feed store. Amazon probably has them. And they're good clips. They're super strong. We actually have two different kinds. We have these long black ones that work really good, and then we also have the shorter ones. It's really just what we had. You can get the longer ones or the shorter yellow ones. My opinion, the black ones are better for the sake of ease when you're clipping them on the post, but they're not as rigid as the yellow ones. That way you can pull your hot wire around. And I use the T-post only on corners or gates like this. This is a gate. So what we got going on here is we got our hot wire, and then we just got a old piece of fencing that we just string up for a gate. That works really well, but you can see we have corner posts down there. Then we have a blue post just to help support it because it's a long run. And then we got another T-post, and then back up at that corner is a T-post. And this setup works really well just because you're not having to worry about how you're going to set up your next fence. You can just really move them wherever you want. You can just reel up the wire, and also for storage, if you, especially for winter time, if you're putting your goats up, which I do, I'll put them up in a little shed type thing that I've made, which I'm going to be having to make another one because I turned it into a gym. But it's super easy to take down because all you have to do is reel everything up. It's all on one reel, and so it's super easy, small for storage. Then if you wanted to, you could leave your clips on your T-post, set your T-post in a little pile with your O'Brien post in just another little pile. Now I'm about to go up and do some numbers for y'all. That way y'all can see how much this costs about. But it's super easy, set up, take down, store. You're not having to really do much with it. One thing I do recommend, if you are going to run your goats like this and you're trying to save money on not feeding as much grain maybe, and dewormers and medications for your goats, I would really recommend moving your goats every about week or less. So we'll keep them in this paddock for about a week, and then we'll probably move them. That way you have less of a chance of your goats getting parasites, and I've never had to worm or deworm the goats. I guess worm or deworm. I'm not quite sure. But I've never had to give these goats any shots, any kind of medicine. All I do for them is minerals, whatever they find to eat in here, and some nice clean water. And that is my goat setup. Like I said, super easy, super simple. And now I'm going to go head up and we're going to see how much it cost for this setup I have right here. Alright guys, I'm here in the goat barn, which I turned into a gym, which means we gotta build a bigger gym beside the goat barn. But I have everything wrote down here, and I don't have the brand beside the name of the items, but all that will be linked in the description below. But the Energizer we have is $220.99, and that Energizer has worked very well for us. We've had it for probably about 4, almost maybe 5 years now. So it's worked really well. Another thing you'll be wanting are red posts. I'm going to go ahead and say get at least 10, depending on your setup. You might want more, you might want less. But I'm going to go ahead and say 10 because this should get your whole setup ready for just about anyone. And that's the price I have. So 10 red posts, which are the ones that I showed you, are $2.99 a piece. And then reels, the reels that we have, the orange ones, they're really cheap, or fairly cheap. They're cheaper than most actual hot wire reels. We got a 2-pack of reels for $34.70. And then wire. We got wire, which is the metal wire, $29.99, because you're going to have that or I guess you could use something else maybe to run all the way down, but you're going to have wire to run to your goats. And then you're also going to want your clips. So the red post clips I have on here are, I just lost them, $9.99 for a pack of them. I don't remember how big the pack was, but you can probably just buy one pack for only 10 red posts. It probably comes in like a 12 pack. But another thing you're going to want are T-posts. I would recommend getting 6-foot T-posts just because they're, in my opinion, they're more versatile. You can use them for fencing. You can use them for just other projects like cattle panels in your garden for tomatoes. And it just gives you more space to move your clips, which is the next thing. But the 6-foot T-post from Tractor Supply are $5.99. So not too bad, but I would say get at least 10. We have 8 just for that setup down there, but I would say it's always good to have at least a couple extra in case you need to make a weird shaped paddock, because your paddocks might not always be square. So I would recommend getting a couple more than you think you might need. Which brings me to the next thing, which are the T-post clips. Pack of, I think it was a 12 pack. If you run your goats in 5-strand hot wire and you get a 12 pack of the T-post clips, you will need 50 clips, which is 2 packs, which comes out, one pack is $6.99. So you'll definitely want those. Next up is hot wire. This hot wire that we got is 3,285 feet of hot wire for $45.99. It's worked really well. It's lighter than the Tractor Supply hot wire. We got it off Amazon. It works really good. But yeah, I recommend getting that one. If you need more hot wire, I guess you could just buy another spool of it. But one hot wire for that many feet is $45.99. And last but not least, the O'Brien Blue Post come. We got the pack of 50. I guess they probably have smaller packs if you needed them, but the 50 pack of Blue Post are $259.75. So a little pricey, but they are really good posts. Highly recommend them. And yeah, that is it. That is the whole list, which brings us to a grand total of $787.28. So not under $1,000 setup. Of course, if you're just getting started, you would also have to buy goats, and depending on what kind of goats you get and all that, they might be a little bit, might bring your price, it's going to bring your price up more. But that is the supplies that you would need to have them in this setup. Also, real quick, I didn't mention water bowls. If you're just getting started, depending on how many goats you have, just a Rubbermaid bowl works really well. That's what we have for our 2 goats. And for minerals, I just have a small little dish, just sprinkle their minerals in. Stay tuned for our next video, because I'm going to be talking about our minerals along with what my winter shelter looks like for goats and what I feed them, because if I don't feed them grain at all, what am I doing for the winter time? So stay tuned for that video. It will be next. But I'm going to wrap up this video for y'all today, so make sure you go down there, like, subscribe, hit that little bell button, share this video with your friends and family. Y'all have a good one, and God bless.